Hey, my YouTube warriors, thank you for tuning into this fun episode. Today, we're going to talk about FIRE. For those that don't know what that means, it's essentially financial independence and retire early. So today, I have a pleasure talking with Alex Barker. He is a former pharmacist and now an entrepreneur helping pharmacists to succeed. And I'll let him introduce himself.
Hey, I'm Alex Barker. I am a pharmacist, which is crazy to think about where I am today because I feel very much like I'm an academic without an institution. I do career coaching. I have a team of career coaches, all pharmacists, and we help pharmacists find new and better jobs or create businesses that end up creating jobs. It's kind of my life's journey and my life's dream to be doing what I do.
Awesome. So for today, we want to talk about financial considerations with financial freedom. So Alex, worked as a pharmacist, and then he basically walked through his journey, working the road, and he decided, pharmacy is not for me. I'm going to walk away helping other pharmacists, which is very empowering. So with those millennials out there, what are 3 pitfalls that you see for those that you coach or people that you interact with when it comes to money?
Oh, golden handcuffs is the first and easy one. If you haven't heard it before, it's the basic idea that, you're tied to a job so much so that you've got golden handcuffs. You can't leave it. You have to keep it because it's paying off your debt. So you stay miserable, and you commit a psychological term called moral injury, where you're being forced to do things that you don't want to do because they go against your moral code. I see it all the time. It is changing, and I think it's because not as many full-time jobs are being offered right away to students, new grads. And so there's a little bit less of that going on, but there's still a lot of settings that are making that happen. But I would say golden handcuffs is number one. I would say, I think the belief that you can't make less money and accept that. I think a lot of people live up to their income, or beyond that, which is, pretty normal. And I hear people say in career considerations, like, I can't make less than this. So what I usually do is I reverse the question and I say, okay, you can't make less than this. Let's imagine, though, that you made $10,000 less per year and you were infinitely more happy. You had a great relationship with your spouse. You had the energy to pursue your creative endeavors. You were inspired to do a business. You have that energy now. Would you take that job tomorrow if I offered it to you? And 9 times out of 10, people say absolutely. So it kind of comes down to, like, what is your price? What can you be bought? If you're going to be bought at 150K a year and be miserable, you know your number, and you know that, frankly, it's almost like a slavery to a job. So it comes down to, what is your happiness worth? But ideally, you would want to find a place where you could be happy and get paid well. That's kind of what our coach program focuses on. A third pitfall, I don't know, but I do feel like, no, I don't have anything more intelligent to say.
So I think those are actually really good. And even with those 2, I think it can multiply to 10 because it's essentially those 2 concepts really trap folks. I would say another thing is, I like how you say, what is your price? So, there's a study where 75,000 is like the magic number in terms of defining how happiness, and if people make more than that, they may not necessarily be more happy. It's just more things, right? And no one's saying no to money, and people $1 billion may not be happy when someone's $1 million. I really like this quote, is the best people don't have the best things they have, is they make the best of the things they have. Yeah. So I think it goes back to really how you define success and how you define wealth. Because wealth doesn't mean just money. It's really your happiness, your joy, your quality of life. Time. Time is the most important commodity that none of us have control over, except everybody has 24 hours how you do it. There are folks that's like, how do you get to do this where you work full time and then do this on the side? It's you make time for it, right? No one likes to clean, but if I say I'll pay you $50,000 if you clean your windows, guess what? Everybody raise their hand. So it's just kind of like the price and the number you mentioned. So we kind of mentioned pitfalls. So what are some things that I would say two things you would encourage folks and when it comes to financial independence and financial freedom? You paid off your house 27 years early, you walk away from your job, or you pay pretty much debt-free within 5 years of working. Give us some pearls how you accomplished such an amazing goal.
This pearl will sound crazy, and if you live in a metro area, it will be very difficult. But we set a goal to live off of one paycheck per month. So we got paid, twice a month. So we tried to just live under that one paycheck. And we almost always never really achieve that goal, but um, but doing that made us think differently about what we wanted and how much we wanted. So my wife and I, we do this usually yearly or at least every 6 months. We think about, what do we want and what can we achieve within reason. And we started that right away. I mean, as soon as I graduated, we started talking about money and finances and like where we saw ourselves. And I've never believed in the idea that retirement is like a goal. I don't think I'll ever stop working because I love to work. I enjoy the work that I do. It's a lot of fun. So if retirement isn't the goal, then what is it? Well, it's to achieve a certain amount of money to do the things that we want to do. We want to travel, across the world. We want the ability to take 2 to 3 weeks off and not have that impact our income or, security. And so since those were our goals, we had to build a life that was going to sustain those goals. So whatever your goals are, I'm not here to tell you what I think you should do with your finances because that's always really kind of iffy. But I know with the FIRE movement, like it's either really really radical living, and um, I've watched a lot of like the documentaries and stuff on the FIRE movement, and I feel like it's almost too extreme, and it works for like the certain kind of people, you know. Um, but if you're not like that, if you're like, no, I just want financial independence, well, then the way to get there is by just making more money or, maximizing the time that you have. Some of my coaches, they have full-time jobs and they're paid very well for those jobs. This coaching is for them, it's like a side gig. And it's frankly, it per hour, it's more money than what they make at their day job, but it is time well spent. It gives them freedom to do work that they absolutely love. And they're making money along with it to obtain their own personal goals. So for me, I guess I just advise to first dream of the lifestyle that you want and be realistic. I talked to a girl this week who was working part time, looking for a full time job, and she said, my dream is to get paid $300,000 a year, like next year. I was like, okay, let's talk about what's going to be involved to do that. And she realized immediately, like, oh, this is going to be a lot more work than I think what I'm willing to put in. And I said, yeah, you're right. You have to be realistic with your dreams and your plans. But I mean, $300,000 a year isn't impossible. It's just it's a lot of work to get there.
Yeah, and I think it's just also the sacrifices you're willing to make, right? So time versus money, where when you're young, you have all this energy and time, but you're broke. When you're old, when you're all save up money, you do have some money, but then you don't have the time. And I think one of the part of the FIRE movement is not necessarily, it does say retire early, but I think it's allowing folks the freedom, the time freedom to do what they want to do, when they want to do it, and who they want to do it with, right? Because when we have a job, we tend to have to ask your manager, ask your supervisor, hey, can I take 2 days off? Like you always have to ask for permission, like in order to take time off. And, you know, ideally it'd be nice to have 2 to 3 weeks off, but that's a luxury, right? So I think money doesn't make people happy, but having money helps you to live a more free life and less anxiety. Um, so with that in mind, in terms of how do you help coach, or for those that are interested to kind of pursue this fire route, they can be like radical. So there's actually in the fire community, there's a lean fire where you like live in barely nothing, like literally you're drinking water to live off. Versus there's a fat fire where people, I think it's like $250,000. So you gotta define where you want, right? Or maybe a happy medium is where it is. So be realistic. So one action that I want to inspire you guys to do today is write down 3 things that you want to accomplish this year to help you achieve whatever that wealth is, right? So what are, I know you're such a reader because I think I saw one of your podcasts or blog where you read like 66 books in 66 days, something just really crazy. I was like, how does anybody have time to do that? But you're Alex, so of course. Who are kind of your mentors or resources that you use or utilize that you would recommend to those who are interested in getting to know more about
Financial mentoring. Um, I do. This is definitely not something I'm very well versed because honestly, the way I think about making money or investing is by doing business because the work I've done up front has paid off dividends, right? More so than the stock market. So, given that, in the world of finance, I do watch The Motley Fool. I listen to them and I check out what they say. I think Tony Robbins' book, albeit a little bit biased, was really helpful. I forgot what it was called, but just type in Tony Robbins money, and he's got like 2 pretty helpful books about how to invest your money the wise way. Um, and then, of course, got to make a shout out for your financial pharmacists. They have a great book about the very specific struggles of what pharmacists go through. Um, and I think what is more important to me for that question is to talk about like mentors. So I'm a coach. Any coach who doesn't have a coach isn't a good coach. It's kind of like a doctor saying, "Yeah, I don't really believe in medicine, but tell me about your broken leg and I'll give you an opioid." So I have a coach. I've had coaches all my life, and she is absolutely amazing. She helps me understand like the direction that I'm going because I realize that I really struggle with my own shortcomings and where I am failing as a leader and a founder. And she helps me get a lot better in those areas and execute. I also have my own personal board of advisors. So it's not like a business board of advisors, but I have a group of men and women who I meet with like quarterly, and I just tell them, like, this is what I'm working on, this is where I'm going, this is what I want to achieve. And they give me great feedback, advice, and guidance. And that has been instrumental to my success. And I also have a mastermind group. I meet every week with a group of 3 other gentlemen, and they have been with me from like almost nearly the start. I've known these guys for 5 years, and I've watched them build up their businesses, and I get feedback from them about my business, and that is insanely helpful. I've received so many great insights from that group. And so, some of I guess, yeah, I mean, a lot of the financial things I've learned and the insights I shared with you in our previous episode actually came from my mastermind group. Um, and nothing can beat that value to me. Um, yeah.
Okay, well, I'm going to dig a little bit deeper. So how did you choose your board of advisors, and how did you find the individuals in your mastermind to help you influence in a positive way?
Okay, so the personal board of advisors, they're all people who have built up, you know, six, seven, eight-figure businesses. That was like goal number one that I wanted to hear. Number two, they have impeccable, respectable personal lives. Um, they have the things in their life that I want. A stable and happy marriage, law abiding citizen, good parents. Those are all things that I want to emulate. I know I'm not perfect, but having those people who have gone down the journey that I am trying to go down is very, very helpful. Um, and so these people had to meet a qualification for me, and then of course they had to say yes. I was very scared to ask each of them, but they have all been extremely gracious. Not one person said no. And actually, with one of my mentors, I meet with him every week on today, Friday. I'll meet with him in a few hours, and I basically just share like what's going on and what I'm working on, and we talk about some deep stuff sometimes and not so deep stuff other times. My mastermind group, which is more like people on kind of my level, was a hodgepodge of opportunity and oddness. So actually, I've got a picture of them in my office. You can't really see it all that well because of the glare, but I actually commissioned an artwork here of like it's all of us as like Star Wars characters, um,
Ah,
and they are an amazing group of guys. Um, do you know Pat Flynn by chance?
no, I don't.
No, he's the guy behind Smart Passive Income, which is a really huge like money blog and
Ah,
lifestyle blog. And I had this guy met. I was doing a podcast at the time, trying to build businesses, and this guy just reached out to me on Facebook saying, um, "Hey, I see what you're doing, and I really think it's cool. I just wanted to reach out and connect." For reference, I'm Pat Flynn's book coach. And at the time, I was like, "Who is this cat? What a weirdo!" Just reaching out to me, but that's fine. And then I reread his message like a month later, and I'm like, "You're Pat Flynn's book coach? What? That's amazing." Um, and so his name is Azul Turenes, and then I met another guy named Donald Kelly at a podcast conference. He has a podcast called The Sales Evangelist. And then I have another, actually a local friend of mine named Bo Anderson, who runs a manufacturing and real estate company. Um, and so we meet every Tuesday morning, and one of us takes the hot seat where we talk about a problem that we have and how we're approaching it, and we get feedback from the group, and it's been really encouraging, insanely valuable, and they're all people who I really, really respect in many, many ways, and excited to see where they go next. Because just hopefully, I kind of ride their curtails of their success. Um, so yeah, that's who's in my group, and that's how I found my board of advisors.
So the key takeaway from here is really building relationships, genuine relationships. I know sometimes with social media and the easy access to phone, we can connect folks, but it just connect more superficially. So really trying to build relationships. And I think what the action of this interview is really being able to build that genuine relationship. I reached out to Alex. It's like, hey, I've been seeing you and following you and kind of think you're a cool dude. And I would love to reach out and hear because I feel like many people are in the boat or in similar, and we would love to hear what the audience would like to hear from you. And then that's how we connect. I mean, we are real people, right? So I think sometimes like fear is this four-letter word that is so powerful that holds us back. In terms of reaching out to individuals, be like, well, I don't know if, like, when I was a student, I was trying to reach someone, be like, well, it's a pharmacist, like, oh my gosh. So, I think we all have that fear of like, I don't know if this person gonna say no or yes, but my approach ever since in college is like the worst answer I guess is a no, the best answer I get is a yes. So, you never know until you try. And I know this is about fire, but I think it's a part of it where you just gotta do it. Like you can listen to a podcast, you can read all the books we recommend, you can do all this, but you still sit on your um, in your chair, trying to be more sit in your chair and not do anything, then really I won't be able to mindfully empower you, right? You gotta eventually motivate yourself. Alex and I won't be there. Even when you have a coach, your coach can lead you to the water, but you gotta just take it from there. So you gotta take and do the actions. And if you said, I have a bad coach, it's not maybe a bad coach. We may have to reflect inside and say, what did I do? If you didn't do anything that's recommended, you can get the greatest coach out there. They would not make you successful. All right, that's my rant. So in terms of resources, I really want to share, Alex provided some great ones. The other two that I just actually, Remit Sethi, he's also a personal finance guru. I would teach you to be rich in 6-week program. Definitely great starter for those that just, I wish I've read that in college. I really didn't know about the FIRE aspect and financial independence probably in 2017 after I finished my residency. So that's why I'm so passionate to share this with you guys, because if I've known earlier, I maybe might retire in 10 years, but I'm not going to, right? And then the other one is Dave Ramsey. He has a Financial Peace University. I'm one of their financial peace coordinator. Essentially, and I know Alex is also FPU as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
right. So, he has Total Money Makeover. So go ahead and check out if you really want to pursue financial independence. You got to get started now. Okay, so to close, can you tell me how folks will reach out to you if they want to get to know more about you or connect with you?
Sure. You can check out my website, thehappyfarmd.com. And if you want a little bit more personal, happy to chat with you on LinkedIn. I think I said in the previous episode, I don't really like social media. It's very impersonal. So if you want to connect on LinkedIn, send me a message. I would love to chat, love to connect with you and actually have a real conversation.
Awesome. This is kind of off topic, but I actually want to think, I know you left pharmacy, but then still coaching pharmacists. Is pharmacy still a good career to pursue for those that are watching and still looking for the answer?
Putting me on the spot.
I
So
am.
I think I think any career can make someone happy. I firmly do believe that. What I don't think can make people happy is to be in a work environment where you are not valued. I don't want to call out names, but everyone in pharmacy knows who some of the bad employers are. They know how they treat their people, and if the pharmacist is listening, like they know who I'm talking about. Um, Can you be happy as a pharmacist? Absolutely. People are winning every single day and making great impacts in the world, on patients, for their, colleagues. You can be a great pharmacist and practice in any setting. The question is, will I enjoy using these skills as a profession? If you, I mean, here's a prime example. I am not detailed oriented. Why in the world did I become a pharmacist? Well, I narrowed down actually a long time ago. My career path was probably teaching because I really love teaching. I love the art of it. I love public speaking. It's easy to do for me and it's super fun. But I did not like the work environment. I do not like politics. I do not like bureaucracy, and I do not like slow moving organizations. And I think all of those things, in some ways, has described some academic institutions. Um, See how PC I've become after like saying these things. So
Yeah.
I would say if you're considering it, you have to do your research. Don't think that just because you're a pharmacist, you're going to get 6 figures and all your problems will go away. A lot of people, like myself, who believed that, find themselves in trouble at some point. You have to be really active with your career, and you have to really consider What am I great at, and how does that fit into this field? So that's what I would say.
I love it. So I did put Alex on the spot, but I kind of want to, I intentionally did that because I want to share because, pharmacists do make good money. I'm not going to lie, six-figure salary. But again, going back to that, it's not about money. It's income doesn't necessarily mean wealth. If you make six-figure and you spend six-figure, guess what? You're homeless. If you make six-figure and you spend, 10% and save the rest, you will be a millionaire. So it's not, income does not define your wealth status. So I want to share that with you guys because I think a lot of folks think, oh, I'm going to pick a career that's high paying. No, you got to pick a career that you enjoy doing because what, your time is more precious than money. All right, guys, you know me. All right, I'm done with my rant, so share your love and join the community by sharing any comments. I would love to hear from you and for more topics for future video. And let's stay engaged and connect. I want to mindfully empower you to succeed. Until next time, my warriors. All right.